So, good afternoon to you all. Welcome to my new subscribers, and if you're returning, welcome back. So, we're looking at a longer Ray5 5-watt diode laser here, but this will be the same maintenance procedure for the 10-watt because they are virtually identical other than size. The 20-watt is a bit different, and I will cover that in another video, but today I'm going to demonstrate how to take the top part off, how to take the fan off, my upgrade part for this red shroud, how to clean it, how to reassemble it, and what to look out for. So if you're interested in that, stick around and we'll get it done as quickly as possible. It's not the most exciting video. You need to get this off your laser first of all. It will come with probably the back plate. Because this is not fitted on my laser, I've got the 10-watt fitted. That's why the back plate is not here. So you will have to get this off, you will have to deal with the two funny little screws at the back. I will post a video here to show you how to overcome that problem, because that is one of the drawbacks of doing maintenance. Getting those two screws in and out is a pain in the what's it. So I've developed something that's done away with those. I call it the smooth slider, and it just makes maintenance so much easier. The second thing is, when you're removing the power cable from here, you've got the black wire coming down with a white plug. Don't be tempted to pull the wire. Get your thumbnail or a fingernail, get it on the white plug, which is connected to the black wire, and push it up. Because obviously this is I wouldn't say delicate, but this is a point of weakness. Any junction is a point of weakness, and you don't want to go pulling it. When you're reinstalling it, make sure the plug is fully seated, because if it's not fully home, you'll find that you'll get intermittent burning of the laser, and you'll find that these connections here will start charring as the electrical current is jumping across the terminals. And I hope I haven't scared you with that. Anyway, let's get this off. So you can use the supplied Allen keys. I prefer to use my own because it's just a lot quicker. So these screws here, do not do them up tight. There's no need for them to be tight at all. And as you're taking things off, have something to drop the parts into so you don't lose them. And don't do it above carpet. Say, this screw will be black on yours, but I've been changing them. So, that's that off first of all. So, I've mentioned this in another video before. Don't be tempted to pull my thumbs outwards, because you'll crack these junctions here. The way all manufacturers make these is it's a flat piece of material. They put a V score down here and here, heat it and bend it. So if you look very, very closely, you'll see a very faint line in the corners. And that's the part they've removed. So when they fold it, it gives you a nice fold on the outside and no bulge on the inside. So that's that tip. My other tip is, as you'll notice on the 5-watt, I don't think the 10-watt has it, these holes are recessed. So this is the surface of the material and they go down, let's say 2 millimeters. So when you put the screws back in, they are flush. You can see that it's not protruding. Now the problem is, if you nip those up too tight, you'll end up cracking the perspex. So what you can do, get yourself a tiny washer, and the existing screws are just long enough for you to screw it back in. So you'll now notice the bolt is now above the surface, and all the force is being put on the washer and not that thin piece of perspex. If you've got slightly longer bolts, 2 mil longer would be perfect for the application. So that's that top tip, and that bolt there is sort of a 5 mils. If you found a 7 or maybe 8, that would do, but no longer, because you don't need it. So that's that out of the way. Right, so if you've got the witch's hat, this is what I call the witch's hat. we need to take this off. Need to take all the bolts out. You can leave the last one in because you can get the witch's hat off with it. So the inside of the witch's hat will need cleaning, so you can just use a bit of rag with an isopropyl alcohol and give that a good wipe over, and that will clean that. So with the 5 watt, it's slightly different from the 10 watt. This is the lens, so you need to protect this at all costs. So if you damage that lens, I believe it's not replaceable, and this is not a smoke guard, so that is the actual face of the lens. So if you're a 5 watter, make sure you do regular maintenance, because any dust build up on that lens, what happens is, as the laser's passing through the lens, it heats that dust up and it bakes it onto the lens, and if it's baked on hard enough for long enough, you actually crack the lens. Cracked lens, you need to throw the whole thing away, as far as I know. I will ask Longer whether that's a true statement, but we'll cover cleaning that in a minute shortly. So let's get the rest of the laser apart. So you just need to take these 4 bolts out, and they are quite long, and you'll find that the black spacers here will drop out. The longer spacer is at the top, and you can't really put it in the wrong way round. The reason we're taking it apart is you got to clean the fan blades and look down inside to see that the airways are clear, because any restriction or any built, you see one spacer got away there, any restriction will limit the cooling of the fan. Okay, so you've got the perspex top, control board and fan. I take a picture of that, and that's a specification of the fan. Let me put my glasses on. 12 volt, 0.12 amps, model number JHX4020S12. It's just a 40 by 20 fan, I would imagine. Yeah, 40 by 20 fan. Probably the same as the 10 watt. So what you've got to be careful now is not to bend under the wires. You can remove this module if you want to. I will try and do that for you, but you can also leave it intact. You notice I'm using my fingernails to pull the plug out. That came out really easy. The fan one, that looks like it's more difficult, but you can, there's little ears here and here, so you could probably get your fingernail under the ears. Yeah, that's come out easy as well. So that's fully disassembled. It's on the control board. These are the heat sinks, probably heat sinking whatever this part is, and that's the control board. So it looks like on this one, the actual laser module is a single diode inside a cylinder, and it's in there. How's it in there? I think there's probably a grub screw there, but you don't need to take this out. Yeah, there's a grub screw in there, so don't be tempted to take that out, because you would have to set that back at the right distance to get your focus. So at the moment, that is sticking out just over 3 millimeters. So I will take that out. So that's what you've got. So this is the diode laser. This is the focusing lens. And it looks like possibly it's hot glued in there. So I'm not going to take it apart any further, but that is it. Nothing more I can tell you about that. Anyway, you can leave that in there, or you can take it out like I'm showing you, depending how dirty this beast is. But this is actually quite easy compared to the 10 watt, because all you've really got is these big holes to clean, and then these fins are open, and these fins here where the label is are the same fins except the label is underneath. So let me go and get a Q-tip, because I didn't prepare one earlier. So I'm going to drop this laser back in. I'm going to just nip it up because I now need to rotate it when I put it back together. Let me just get it the rough distance out. So you've got to be careful of this lens at all costs, because I just said if you damage it, that's it, it's done. So just be careful. You could possibly stick a bit of masking tape over that if you wanted to be careful and not damage it whatsoever. So to clean down these guideways, like a Q-tip fits down there nicely. So a bit of isopropyl alcohol on these. Drop it down them holes. And then if you've got any dust on the outside, you should have a brush in your kit, or if not, you can use a toothbrush, old toothbrush, and you can just brush any dirt off the external guideways. These are a little bit more difficult, other than blowing down there. I don't know what else you could get down there. You could just poke your Allen key down there, but I don't think that would remove much dust. So that is that done. Now the fan, it's very likely that these blades will be covered in brown dust and brown sooting, pretty much like what ends up on the surface of your material. So you can use compressed air. Now if you're using compressed air, you need to hold the fan so it doesn't rotate and use a can of compressed air. Recommend you doing that outside to get rid of the dust and protect yourself at all times against the dust. And then also you can get your Q-tip, then just very gently wipe all the blades down front and back just to get as much dirt off as you can. So that's that. And that is pretty much the maintenance of the laser. Say this part is important to make sure it's clean, and regular inspection of those. I mean, you can do some partial cleaning to get an idea how dirty it is going upwards. Just be careful you don't poke too far or too hard, because then you're poking into the fan. So if you're not confident in stripping it all down, you can just do it from the bottom. But at some stage, especially if you do a lot of engraving seems to make a lot more dust, debris than cutting. But you'll soon see, if you start seeing brown fringing on the fan blades, that you need to strip it down. So I need to get this bad boy back together now. And is it upside down? Yes, that is upside down. So that's not going to be very good, is it? So I'm going to take that off. And that is the top, that is the bottom. And look, there's a guideway in the top there where the cables come across. That's giving me an indication where they go. And I need to get that there. Now, I'm not too worried about the distance that is, because I use a focus stick and not a focus block. But I will try and get that back at 3mm. I'm going to use that and push that gently backwards to there. Gently nip that up. Cables are pretty much in the right place, and that's it. That's my laser back in. So the cleaning of this is much easier than the 10 watt. So if you've got air assist nozzle, be very careful of these small screws. They are small, they're easy to lose, and there's no spares in the kit. So again, just use a Q-tip, around here, down there, and clean the outside. You'll no doubt get a lot of gunge around the outside. Anyway, so that is it done for today. Let's assemble it now. So the control board, it will get dusty, and all I'd recommend is just brush it off very gently with the brush they supply in the kit, and just brush these out if they've got any dirt on. So let's see how I'm going to assemble this, and I've got to think about which way that is all going to go. So I think that is going to go that way. And that's going to go there. So let's put the fan in first. Again, making sure it's seated and not pushing down on the cable. You notice I use my nails to push the plug down. Use my nails to push the white plug down. And that one is going to slip back in there. That's got to be rotated. That is going this way. So, and the spiky bits of the plug, these little teeth at the bottom, go downwards. So again, just using my nails to push it right in. So you need to make sure that the two prongs here are all the way in. They don't quite go to the bottom, but you'll feel it when it's fully way home. So now comes the slightly tricky bit, because you're doing lots of things at once. What have I messed up here? No, that is that. So when the laser is at the front, the board is that way. So when you're reassembling it, you got the laser at the front, the fan wire is at the back, and the board is the big block top right hand side, and the laser wires are coming down the right hand side. So when you're reassembling it, you've got to make sure that these wires sit in the little indentation here. So because this is a tight connection, so the fan is sitting directly on top of the laser module. You need to make sure those wires are in that trench, and that is there. So all you got to do is just take your time. That is coming up there. So now we're going to lay it down, and this is the tricky part, because you've got two lots of spaces to jiggle in. So don't forget to put the lid back on, and make sure the cutout is over where the cable's going. So you're going to put one bolt through, put a long one through, put it through the top, put the small spacer on, then just wiggle it down. I'm not going to screw it up at the moment. You need to leave it loose because you need to get all the other bits in. So long spacer, push it through the board. Short spacer, turn it around. So then if you square the fan up, making sure that wire is not going to be trapped outside of its groove, gently do. And also, yeah, I've had that on my 10 watt. When you're jiggling it down, making sure that the wire here isn't crimped underneath this part here. So just push that wire out of the way, lower than that spacer. I'm just watching to make sure that wire is out. It's not, it's just crimping on the black wire. I'm just going to undo it, push the black wire out of the way. Now you can see the spacer is all the way down. Now just knit that up loosely for now. Then go in the opposite corner. Jiggle it around. You've still got movement on the fan, just trying to locate the bolt in the hole. Then just go around and just nip them up. They don't have to be tight at all because they're not doing much. Then double checking that you've got nothing crimped there. That's up nicely. Everything looks as it should do. And the cutout is above the cable. I have, how do I know that? Because when I clean my 10 watt, I got that over here. So that's that. So with the lens, again, with a Q-tip, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on the tip, hold it angling down because you don't want any excess fluid running into or past the lens. That's why you just hold it at an angle, gently rub it around, bring it back up, wait for the isopropyl alcohol to dry off. And what I normally find is even though the isopropyl alcohol is dried, it just leaves a very tiny small ring of whatever left on the lens. So then I use the other end of the Q-tip or another dry one and then just polish that off. And you're not pressing at all. And then what you're going to do, just move that round in the light and you're making sure you've got no debris left in there at all. So that is that. So put the witch's hat back on. So I didn't notice when I took this off that it is designed. So you've got two solid edges and two trapped edges. So the way I've been installing it is put one of the trapped edges on this side because it's got no fins, and then this side and this side are empty. So you put the screws back on and that would be it. Put your guard back on, do the upgrade with the washers, highly recommended. Or if you've got the air assist nozzle, then you would put that on there. Just ease these out, cut the turns. Position that on there, turn it round to wherever you have it on your air assist. If you're using the red lens, then it has to sort of come out the back somehow. Mine, because I use my focus stick, mine comes directly out the back. So just pressing that down, light pressure. So that would be assembled. Put it back on your laser, do a test, and hunky-dory, you should be cutting efficiently again. Now I'm just going to check this because I'm going to take these out and I want to check something, because this will make your, well, I hope it'll make your cutting better. I can wiggle that from side to side. So what I found on my 10 watt is air leaks around here, which is not good for you trying to push air down in your kerf. So what I'm going to go and do is find a bit of tape, and I'll be back. Right, so the experiments I've done with my 10 watt, what I found was if I used electrical tape, in my last video I used blue, but this is white, I could put almost a full wrap of electrical tape around the 10 watt, which is easy to do because you've got a bigger upstand. But this 5 watt I found in blue masking tape is ideal, and you almost get a full wrap. So now what you've got to do very carefully, because it's difficult to trim 3mm, is just trim it down. So you can do that with no fear of touching the lens because you're miles away from the lens and the lens is slightly recessed. You can also use a scalpel blade if you want to do it that way, which is probably easier if you put that down and use 2 hands. Doesn't have to be flush. You can see that's a dirty type trim. Just smooth the edges back down. And then when you put this air assist back on, you'll find it fits tighter. So that is a snug fit. So just turn it round to where you want it. I want it out the back, so that's that side. So that's up there. Do the nuts up, do the bolts up. Now by adding the tape, what you've done, you've sealed the air assist so the air can only come out the nozzle. There's no way it can leak back up where you don't want it. Now let's just, because I twisted it round, maybe the tape has roughed up a bit. No. So that is it. Blue painter's tape. Hopefully, I haven't done a test on this yet, but if it follows the principle of the 10 watt, it made the cutting better. You try it yourself and let me know. By the time you see this video, I hopefully would have done a test. I'm going away for a week shortly and I might not have time. So I'm going to leave that on there for now. And that's it. That is the 10 watt done, other than putting the guard back on. That's it. So let me know what you think. Please let me know in the comments if you've done the masking tape trick on this one, whether you've getting better. And I am doing another experiment. Where is it? So I am doing other experiments. I've done it on the 10 watt and I've made good progress. Well, I've made a big difference in the cutting ability of the 10 watt by making stuff like this. Now, you won't have to make stuff like this. I'm hopefully going to come up with a much easier solution to make this cut better. What I'm trying to do is get the air assist nozzle closer to the surface of the work. Now, because I haven't mounted this on my laser yet, I'm not sure of the distance between the tip of the nozzle and the work at 30mm focus. So this is made for the 10 watts. It looks massive, and this deep depression here or recess you won't need on the 5 watt. So this, if I need it, will be made a lot shorter. And my theory is, let's take this back off. My theory is that I will be making something like this to sit on there, and you'll be using the screw holes already to secure it, like that. The hole won't be there because the idea is that whatever contraption I make here, this air assist nozzle, if we've got the height, will go back on the end, so any flame up will be on a metal part and not a, in this case, MDF part. So that's what I'm working on. So if you've got a 5 watt, please like and subscribe, because I'm sure if the principles follow the 10 watt, the 5 watt is going to make the difference as well. And it's an easy upgrade. It's going to be a couple of bits of wood you burn, stick it together, put it on your laser, and you've got a better 5 watt cutting ability. So that is it. That is it now, definitely. I am going. As Andy as ever, saying, have a great afternoon. Go and make some happy smoke. Please like and subscribe, because it does put a big smile on my face. At the moment, I've got just over 800 subscribers. Let's see if we can get over 1,000. That would make my day. Anyway, let me know. See you in the next one. Cheers for now. Thank you for making it to the end of my videos. Much appreciated. If you like what I'm doing and I've earned your trust and respect, perhaps you would consider subscribing. If you leave a comment, I will answer them as well. And if you give me a thumbs up, it will put a smile on my face. Perhaps you would like some of the videos popping up now. See you in the next one.